let's show you how to paint hands in your acrylic portrait, praying hands. I'm working on this 16 by 20 acrylic portrait of Paul the Apostle praying, and today I want to focus on those praying hands. And so this is kind of the position I'm painting him in, with clasped hands, not the traditional praying hands like you might think of in certain traditional paintings from years ago, but I just imagine he's praying with intensity, and there's something about clasped hands that really conveys that. And I'm going to show you the process here in this portrait. Specifically, I want to show you how to get some of the lighting. You know, we have the lighting from the window above, and it's creating some incredible contrast, as you can see here in my reference photo. So I get that in focus here. And you've got, you know, some really nice warm colors on the interior, reflected light, and I really would like to convey that in the painting. So we're going to do that today. And before we do that, though, I'd like to give you a free gift just to say thank you so much for watching this video. I do have a guide you can download, and it's called my value checker tool. Values are so important in your portrait, getting the difference and contrast between your lights and your darks to give your painting drama, to give it boldness, to give it that sense of realism. So go ahead and download my value checker tool, and that's available in the description of the video and in the top comment. And you'll be able to download that guide, set it up next to your painting and your reference photo, and compare with the several scales that I have on there from light to dark, with some different skin tones and environments that you might encounter when you're painting. But it's free, completely free. So go ahead, download that, and yeah, my gift to you. Enjoy. All right, let's get back to this here. So we're working on, like I say, the hands, and I'm going to use a small round brush. I'm going to get some matte medium on my palette. And I just want to get this cord out of the way. I've got a cord that's kind of getting in the way here. So there we go. I'm a tall guy, so it bothers me if I have something on the top of my head other than a hat. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in here, and we're going to, like I say, take this small round brush. Actually, I might shift to a different one that's gives me a little more precision. And what I want to do is just really make sure I have the shapes of the knuckles correct and different things like that. So the structure is important, and you know, even if you have a good sketch, sometimes your brush strokes can cut into your sketch or change the forms a bit, and you need to clarify it. So I'm taking some titanium white on my palette here. Titanium white, and we'll add a little bit of Indian yellow just to warm that up. Maybe even just a touch of raw sienna. Give it a little more of an earthy feel. All right, so titanium white with a little bit of Indian yellow and raw sienna. And let's see, oh, I've got a little hair sticking out of my brush. Have you ever had that happen? I don't know if you can see this here. There's just a little hair sticking out of the edge of it. I'm going to cut that off with the scissors. Just a little quick tip for you if you ever have any things like that happen with a brush. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's bring this out. Oh, that could get a little darker. All right. So it's amazing how dark this looks here, but how light it looks on the painting. And if you're wondering, you know, what that actual color is, let's say I just grab a white card here, and you can see the actual color and how yellow that is. Let's see, so we want to keep that in mind as you're painting, that it's going to look different on your canvas than it would on a piece of white paper. So don't be fooled by what you see on your palette. Color and value are relative, and they depend very much on, they depend very much on what the environment is. So you just want to keep that in mind, how everything compares to everything else. Okay, so we're adding this glaze. Just again getting the structure of the fingers more accurate. Yeah, this is definitely the brush to use for this process when we're at this stage in the painting. It's also a good idea to spray your palette. You know, I have one of these Flairosol spray misters. Got that as a gift from one of my students. I just want to say thank you, Gloria, for this mister. It's a little shout out there. I love it. And it just keeps your paints nice and fluid. You can just spray them like this, and then you don't have to worry about your paint coagulating. You got to have a really fluid paint for these details. So that's why I like to add a little bit of mist of water to it. Sometimes some matte medium as well also helps. Alright, so we've got this form here, and I just want to make sure I've got that accurate. And we'll be doing a little bit of work on these knuckles just to kind of get the forms. We'll need to do some shading too on them, so it's very subtle at these points. Getting these curvilinear forms and getting the shading described on them. But I have to start somewhere. I've got to start with some good highlights. Then we can shift our color. We can add a little bit of Pyro Orange. That's just a nice red-orange color. And we'll put that on the top of this finger. And so this would be, I guess, maybe the middle finger of the other hand. They're clasped together, they're intersecting. Alright, so we want to get that nice slivered shading in there. And then here's where we can get some subtle shading too. Let's add a little more Pyro Orange. Pyrrole, not Pyro, Pyro Orange. And I'll show you this mix on my palette. We place that right about here. Oh, it has to get a little more intense. Let's add more of the orange. Maybe just a touch of raw sienna. And then it goes again right there. Just to give it some warmth, because it is getting some reflected light from the finger below. A little bit of reflected light from the finger below. And then we'll also add that same treatment right here on this finger. And again, that shows the warmth, the reflected light, all of those things. It can just really enhance the image. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, especially right here, that's where we want that color to be the warmest. We'll also have some of that right here as well on this top finger. There it can get muted a bit. I noticed in the reference photo the color is just a little more muted, so we'll add some burnt sienna and a little bit of raw umber dark with just a little bit of this titanium white that I used from before with the Indian yellow and raw sienna mixed in. So we need something a little less chromatically intense. where we can blend that out. So right here is where we're turning the form, and we're getting that darker shadow, that kind of penumbra that occurs right before the lighter, warmer color. And these warmer colors that we see where the dark area gets close to the light, that's what we call halation. That's that effect where you have the really chromatically intense color next to the juxtaposition between dark values and light values, where they butt up against each other. That's where you have the warmer color. Almost always looks really beautiful when you do that, and you see it naturally occurring in nature, but you can kind of enhance that effect in a painting. Okay, and we'll add a little bit shading right there. All right. If you're curious about that process of halation, you can look up my video here right on my page called What is Halation? And that'll show you more about that and explain it in greater detail. Now we darken, this other side. Fill this in, this finger a little bit darker in general. So add a little bit of this warmer color right here. Add a bit of pyro orange to it, and we're going to add that right to the edge of this top finger, and then blend that in just a bit. I don't want the color to be too intense right here, but I'm going to darken it a little bit. And then just get a little bit of a gradation. So I have these little micro areas of shading. Notice how it's darker right here. I don't know if you can see that color. Darker here, gets a little lighter, a little lighter, a little warmer. You know, I've got that kind of purposely laid out that way so I can just reuse those colors as I need to. Alright, I'll have to do more nuancing to this, but I'm going to let that sit because that's a layer. And you know, if you overwork an area before it's done drying, it just doesn't blend as well. So you just have to be patient with acrylic and layer it up, and just progressively move a little closer to the goal line. If you are into football at all, like I watch the Packer games. I'm a Wisconsinite. Not all of them. I try to watch as many as I can, but family comes first, so sometimes I miss them. But anyway, with the football, you just progressively move that ball closer and closer to the goal line, right, to get a touchdown. And with the painting, it's kind of similar. We're just progressively moving the painting closer and closer to that finished goal. We don't have to do it all in one day or even in one setting, but we're just going to add layer upon layer and just be patient with the process. So that's how we do it here with acrylic. I mean, you can do the alla prima like I do my 30-minute acrylic portraits, but the finish you have in that painting, it's not nearly as realistic, not nearly as finished. So if you want to have that smooth, realistic look where you got the really incredible blending and detail, then it takes time. It's going to take some time. So now I'm adding another layer here. This has got a little more yellow in it, and just really want to get a nice nuance on this top knuckle. I just want to make sure I don't have too much texture there. Okay, and then here we'll add a little bit of a nuance as well. And I'm going to wipe off my brush. Actually, let's rinse it quick. And let's add a little bit of titanium white. I just need to reload this with some Indian yellow. And Let's bring this finger up here, this other finger, a little higher. Let's bring the edge up a little higher. There. All right, so now this needs a little work. You know, we have this shading here. It's very simple, but there needs to be some darker and lighter areas within this shape, this certain shadow shape here that we see that I'm just identifying for you. We gotta spruce that up. So then we're gonna add some, let's see, let's take some alizarin crimson and we'll just add it to this pyrrole orange, just the corner of that. See how I'm just working tight little areas as I'm blending? You don't want to overdo it. You want to keep small little areas and pockets of color that you can choose from. And we'll go ahead and place, it's too strong. So let's take a little burnt sienna. The color's too red, it's too vivid. Burnt sienna to tone it down. All right, so it's going to have a little more of a rust color. Okay, now let's add some raw umber dark. I need to tone down the value. So we add raw umber dark to this area down here. And let's see. We'll go ahead and add that to a couple of spots. All right, now we get a little darker. So some raw umber dark to the bottom of this. So I'm adding on to my scale here, my value and color scale, as you can see. And just a bit of ultramarine blue just to even darken it more and make it less brown, give it more of a blackish feel, because we need to work out of this shadow here. We got a shadow in between these fingers and we just want to blend out of that. I'll add a little bit of shading to the top of this finger because this is actually almost black. I mean, he's in just a really, really dark room except for this window, so we're just trying to build up that drama, that contrast. And again, you know, this painting is meant to be done in the Caravaggio chiaroscuro tenebrism style, where you have basically one single source of light, and it's punctuated by very, very dark darks. A lot of contrast. And that's what we're trying to do, is really get that sense of drama here. That's why he's surrounded by so much dark. And I use some of my darkest paints for this, even introducing dioxazine purple to get a really dark black on all of the darkest values. I haven't done that for quite a while, doing a painting this dark, but this has been fun. It's been a fun process. So yeah, we're getting these darker areas in here. You need to make sure this color is cool enough. Actually needs just a little more blue in it. So ultramarine blue on the end just to kind of tone it down. Because when your values get dark, they should get less chromatically intense as well. So that's important. All right, here we have this darker color, getting some good contrast here. There's a strong shadow right there. I'm just going to, let's see, use my other image where I have a little more clarity. Yeah, so we've got kind of a shadow in here that allows us to see the joints in the fingers too, so that's important. And then a little bit of reflected light. The hands are important, so I'm going to give this some attention. I'm not going to give the same level of attention to every area in the painting, but here I do want to give this quite a bit of attention to detail. We'll bring some of the shading here, this dark color, into the rest of him. Add just a little bit of warmth to this. Okay, I just grabbed a little bit of this pyrrole orange here and I moved it into this color on the bottom because I just want the color of his arm to be right. It should have a little more warmth to it, since it is kind of a flesh tone. Okay, and I'll just imagine maybe there's a little bit of hair left on his arm. Paul the Apostle went through a lot. I mean, he was shipwrecked, he was stoned, and I'm talking about where people threw stones at him, that kind of stoning. He was spent a night out in the open sea. He was beaten. He was jailed. I mean, all kinds of things happened to him. Possibly he even was subjugated to, lions trying to attack him. I mean, it's just all kinds of things. But yeah, I don't think he must have had a few battle wounds, a few scars. He suffered a lot for his devotion to Christ and to preaching the gospel. Okay, let's add a little of this warmer color here. So we just want to get a nice blend on the arm. I know we're working on hands, but I'm just kind of giving you a bonus here, a little extra value in this tutorial. Just showing you how to get some shading in the arms and hands and everything as well. As well as the hands, just want to show you a little bit of the arms. All right, now let's see here. I got to do a little bit of work on the thumb, and then that we'll call this tutorial done. And the hands won't be finished, but they'll be pretty close. All right, now I'm going to rinse off my brush, and then let's get a little bit of a warmer color in here. All right, we'll just warm this up a bit. All right, that's good. So I'm gonna leave off here in this. Now the hands aren't done, but I just want to show you more of the process. We've added some contrast, increased vibrancy, and I hope you found this helpful. So yeah, if you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and check out more of my tutorials, classes, videos, free downloadable guides at realisticacrylic.com. Check that out. Get your value checker tool before you go. And yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know how this has helped you. Any questions you have on acrylic portrait painting, be sure to ask me. All right, so thank you so much for watching. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.